parties in the future, growth and development of this amazing and wonderful city. We thank you for taking time out to join us this evening. As you are likely aware, the purpose of this workshop today is to make sure that our community has the opportunity to look into and examine and provide feedback one last chance before we adopt one of the most important documents in our city, which is our comprehensive plan that really encapsulates all of the resources that our city has and how we are going to utilize them, what our plans are for them, and how we're going to interact with others to realize our goals and visions for this community. So again, thank you for your time and dedication to come out tonight. Before we turn it over to our chief of the comprehensive plan, I want to acknowledge a couple of people. We have two of our planning and zoning board members here, Miss Renee Burgess. How are you? As well as Miss Lucy Joseph. We've we've been working with our planning and zoning board over the last several months, going chapter by chapter of this plan, just trying to make sure we get it right. And that's the purpose of today's workshop, to hear from the residents, to make sure we did indeed get it right. And if not, we're sure you guys will nudge us and guide us into the things that you want to see. Before we move in the program, I do just want to acknowledge our city manager, Mr. Jonathan Evans. Did you want to share any words with the audience this evening?
From the neighborhood sector planning process. Yeah. The city cannot.
All right. Good evening and welcome, and thank you all for being here. This is critically important. This is one of the documents that is a cornerstone to our community, and this is a agreement with our community as it relates to our land development patterns, and things that we want to see to preserve our community. So we're looking for a lot of feedback and input because we want to get this to the policymakers to be adopted as quickly as possible. So thank you all for being here this evening, and obviously I'm daddy duty, but realistically we do this for the people that are in our community today, but also the future generations that will be in our community. Yes, I'll be 1 second, Lily. Which will be in our Lily, that will be in our community tomorrow. So thank you all for being here this evening. Appreciate it.
All right. Since we embarked on this journey a little over a year and a half ago, it was around that same time that Miss Sunid Simon joined our staff at the city of Riviera Beach. And so she really has had the bull by the horn, so to speak, since we started this endeavor. So I am going to turn the mic over to her. She is the principal planner here in the Development Services Department, and she is over long range planning for the city. So she's been working tirelessly over the past better part of the last 2 years to get this plan to the point it is now. And she's going to give you a brief overview of what we have today and how we got here. And then she's going to provide some further instructions to make sure we get all the feedback we can out of you this evening. So, Ms. Sunid Simon.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Once again, my name is Sunid Simon. I am principal planner here with the city of Riviera Beach. Next to me is Mr. Graham Long. He is part of our consulting team that has been working with us to put this comp plan together. And we are excited to be here. We're excited to be at this phase of the plan. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing. And then the most important part is going to be the work that you guys do today. And just get excited. Get excited. I like to have fun. I like to make this a fun process. And at the same time, we know how important this document is because this affects our homes. This affects where we live here. This affects how we utilize the space. So I'm excited to be here with you, and I hope you are too. So let's do it. I'm going to give you a little bit of background. You may have seen this because I presented parts of this to our board about a week or so ago, but I am adding more because you guys are here and I wanted to. No. Oh, praise God. Awesome. And I also want, and I've added more so you guys can have a further information about this. So here we go. So what have we been doing? What have we done? One, why are we here? We all know we're here for the comp plan. But what is that comp plan? This is our vision that we have for our city, how we all want to use it. But the one thing that's important and that you all know about is that we all use it differently. So, how do we put all these ideas together in order to make some plan that we all kind of win some ways? We know we might lose a little bit, but we want to win more than we lose. And so, what we've been doing, this is our vision where we're trying to make sure that we maximize how much we win in our planning process. It's supposed to, number one, go with the hopes that we have for our space. It has to go with our dreams and then our concerns. What's making us not excited about being here? And so we want to identify those so we can work on ways to improve that. Okay. And it's going to be used by our city leaders and it's used by our city staff every day to figure out how do we make decisions and the things that we're doing. I feel like I'm just way too far. I do apologize. Right. So, how do we, thank you. And so how we make our decisions every day. You all know, and you all are very used to saying, well, it aligns with our comp plan. And sometimes they say, well, it doesn't go with our comp plan. Some of our communities that are here, we've been able to utilize and say, it's not in the plan. Or we say, hey, I'd like to modify that because today, it doesn't, the way I want to use it today isn't the same way that we thought about it 20 years ago when we last did this. Okay. And so you can switch up. So that's what we're doing today. We're utilizing the input that has come from citywide input where we've gone to different things or we've held different workshops. Come on in. Nice to see you. Where we've held workshops or we've gone places because sometimes the workshop looks like this. Sometimes it's 70 people. Sometimes it's 2 people. And so we know that we can't always catch you when we do a workshop. So we've been going to the community as well, showing up at events, trying to do different things to capture people's ideas and thoughts in order to put into our plan. We've also, one more, that's okay. We've also had a staff steering committee because our staff was like, yeah, I use it, but it's really old, so I don't use everything in it. And so the idea was like, well, what is it that we need in order to accomplish some of the goals that our community wants? And so we've been also working with staff to ensure that it's a vision of what they want and what they need to be able to do the programming that they do, to be able to do the roads that they need to put in, to be able to do the different things that would allow them to get the funding to support our community. We've also been using data, different plans that are coming from the different departments, as well as our CGA team. They went about and they said, what exists, what's happening in the city today? And they did this when we talk about infrastructure, when we talk about conservation, when we talk about our land use, and they tried to say, this is where the city is today. Do we love it? Do we hate it? What do we need to improve? Are we going where the level of service is? Or do we have some gaps? And so they helped us to identify that. And then we also work with our city council and our planning and zoning board, as Mr. Sermons just told you. And then we also went with best practices, and our consulting team said, hey, this is what others are doing that have been working. Or they say, hey, this is what I've been seeing and what I know would probably work best for your type of city. And so with everyone's input and their expertise, we have what we call Riviera 2040, the comp plan that we'll be looking at today. Where are we today? We're at a phase where we are looking at community feedback. This is one of our last large meetings, but that doesn't mean I won't meet with if you have a HOA or a neighborhood association, or if you have like a nursing group that you want me to meet with, doesn't mean I'm not going to do that. I will continue to do that part. So that way they know where we are. But this is our last large group that we've done city call for, okay? And if you are interested in doing that, let me know. And so that way I can get that done within the first couple of weeks of June. So that way it actually goes into the plan and your thoughts are identified. Go for it. Oh, what does that mean? Wait, sorry. What does that mean? So after that, once we get that last feedback from you all, we will go back, read the plan, make sure it's clean, and then it'll start the adoption process where we will start to go before council to adopt the plan. All right, how have we been doing that? I've told you a little bit more about how we've been doing it. I'm going to kind of go fast around this part. Go ahead. So we've been going to, like I told you, we went to different, we had a commercial, we went to different places to talk to different folks. You can click again. We did a little bit of TV. We did some stuff online. Go for it. We did some surveying where we went to different places to try to capture surveys, as well as sending them out for everyone. We did different open houses, and we did a specific open house for our business community in order to participate, so we can capture their viewpoints. Our two big outreaches were led by CGA, and this one is about. We've done things where we've gone into the community, where we walked with our community members, or we went to big events and small events throughout the community, as well as serving our own staff who has to do this. We did it where we also were very targeted, where we tried to go with young people, and we tried to go with more mature people, more mature people as well. And then folks that just utilize the space in different ways. We were also targeted when we went to specific topics. So if it was like a cleanup, I said, we want to know what people want to do about coastal management and what do they want to do about conservation, right? So that way we kind of get their ideas on that. What did we learn? We had these themes that kept coming up. And these themes were, a lot of folks were like, we don't have what we used to have. Like, we used to have more dance places, or we had places where we can buy things. We even had the swap shop. And those aren't here anymore. So we'd love some more retail. We'd love more entertainment. We'd love to be able to dine in Riviera, right? They also talked about the appearance of our city. We talked about different ways to improve our different parks. We talked about home ownership and affording the places that we live. We talked about the growth and development that's happening and how we want to be a part of that. We discussed about land, water, and our open spaces and conserving them and the quality of them. What's the quality of our water? What's the quality of our lands that we're in? We also talked about our local businesses. How are we supporting our businesses here in the city? How are we making sure that we can keep people here in the city and not pushing them out in different ways, right? We talked about how do we get around? I don't know if we really need the big bus, but maybe we can have little buses running around. Or maybe I would love to ride my skates. I will not ride my skates, but I would love to ride my skates down the streets, because I've been watching folks that do, like there's this gentleman I watch every single morning, and he rides his roller skates to work every day. We should have places where he doesn't feel like he's going to trip and fall, right? That infrastructure should be there. And we also talked about public safety. That was one of our big number one things that people talked about and it wasn't just like, I don't feel safe. It was, am I safe on the different places that I'm at when I use the infrastructure here in the city? So we gained these guiding principles that's new in our comp plan today. So we had 6 big things that came out when it came to how we want to address, or how do we want to address our policies. We found that people, they love it because it's like a home feeling. So we started talking about neighborhood, creating opportunities for everyone to be able to own or to just live in a safe homes here in the city. We talked about that our neighborhoods are unique, and we want to find ways to either keep them unique or to transition them in other ways. So that way we're improving our spaces. We talked about safety, like I just brought it, the importance of that everywhere we are, and putting that within how we improve our neighborhoods. And we wanted to prioritize safety within our neighborhoods, because some places were like, we don't feel like we get enough attention. Another place, I think we get too much attention, right? So those are things that we talked about. Can you click for me again? Oh, they're probably hidden. I apologize. Go back up 2. I'll just talk through it. Equity. A lot of people talked about being a part of what's happening and having access to the opportunities that are being had here in the city. We want to be a part of this. And also feeling like we want to be treated just like everyone else is being treated here in the city, right? We talked about prosperity. That is a new area that we will be targeting in our comp plan. How do we promote wealth in our city? How do we help everyone feel like they can get to that next level? And how do we support our businesses to do that? And how do we support our residents to do that? Being more resilient as a city. We're a coastal town. Oh boy, we're a coastal town. So how do we face with all the environmental harms that are coming towards us, right? And not even just our environment, but ways for us to be resilient after disaster, right? We had a pandemic. How do we as a community, how do we continue to fight back economically? How do we do that environmentally, right? How do we do that with our health? So those are things that we talked about. And livability. I don't want to just have a house and then I drive to another town for me to play whatever, or for me to go to different places, right? I want to feel like this is my home. I can invite people to come over because I know where I'm going to take them. I know that I feel good going down my street. I know my kids can jump rope like we used to, right? How do we make our spaces somewhere that I really want to live at? Next. And so we are here today to see if we actually were able to do that in our different elements. We have various elements that are going on that are around the room, and you'll possibly have someone standing there to help you. And if it's an easy element, you probably won't have anyone standing there. But what we're going to ask of you tonight is your input. I'm going to give an example. He's so good. He's already ready. So we have these boards. This is my summary board of what is in here. I do want you to read what's in here, but I know not everybody wants to read everything. So I've given you a cheat. I did a summary board for you to read what we think we've written here. And then I also give you a QR code because you have time to give me your feedback. It doesn't all have to happen tonight. And if we look around ourselves, I don't think we have the majority of our community here tonight. So we have time to give feedback, okay? But what I'd love for you to do is, this says transportation. So I want you to look at it to see, do I really like what I feel is being prioritized right now in the plan? And if I do like it, I say, man, that was rock star stuff they did here. So I'm gonna give them a 5, a 4 or 5, right? If I feel like, it could be better, I'm gonna give a 1 or a 2 and be like, do better, guys. However, when you tell me do better, don't just tell me do better, because I know we love to complain. Tell me how to do better. I need you to tell me how to do better. So you're gonna grab this sticky note and you're gonna be like, you could easily have done X, Y, Z. Let's do it. Okay. So this isn't a time for us to complain about it. This is for us to say, hey, this is what I need as a resident, as a business owner, as a different stakeholder that's here in the city. Okay. And then so that way we send this all back to our consultants. They take it, they mix it all up, and they start to clean up what we've done. So this is that time. Did we get it right? Yes, ma'am. Oh, I thought your hand was up. Sorry. Go for it. Go for it. Yes. Want to do it? Mm-hmm. Oh. That is a great question. So it is the former, yeah, please. Sorry, I was trying to pull it up because it ended up being a hidden slide as opposed to a slide that I can read off for you. But we are talking about equity here in the city, not against what's happening in the county. Yeah, so it's one of those, thank you. It's one of those aspects. What we're doing is, because this is our plan, this is what we can control. However, what I hear from you, and I'd love for you to write that somewhere, is that we need to do better, or I don't even know if it's better because I know we've been fighting for some of this. We need to find ways that we are tapping more into dollars and that we're making sure that we're trying to get our equitable share of county dollars. to me, that would be something we need to um, add on to our plan because that's not in there right now. That's not in there. Mm-hmm.
Where the activities that were going on with the county, the various funding sources, different plans that were made, just simply had never been addressed in the city's comprehensive plan. And particularly the housing and somewhat with the land use section. We also added related to housing, seeking various funding sources and updated that to reflect what's actually happening on the county and the state level. But to your earlier point in terms of like what we can control, the county also has a comprehensive plan. And so it's something that is, I don't want to be the person saying, go complain to the other government entity, but it's worthwhile to bring that up at the county level when they update their comprehensive plan as well.
So we have that in some way because some of the boards, and I'm going to say it this way too. I think it has, oh, I think it has to also do with like longevity, and being here in the city, and then being able to carry on. So for a good example, I'm looking at Miss Anita Jenkins here, right? So Miss Anita Jenkins, she's on all these different boards, especially when it comes to housing, right? And she will push and advocate, and so that's why we were the ones that did the pilot program for Housing for All, was because she was just like she raised her hand first and said, "Let us get to be able to do that, so we can grab those resources to do it, and so people can know our name." And was able to come in with lots of different dollars. So that's an example of someone that's been here and is able to follow that. And then there's an aspect of our city where we have newer people that probably are still trying to figure it out and hasn't really stepped into these places, and then they're gone, right? And so then we're do it again. So those are some of the things. I sit on a couple of boards, and I know, and I'm just like, we're missing this person. So I say, hey, we need to bring this person over, and we'll try to correct it. But we that is a work in progress, and I think that's worthy for us to say it out loud and make it, because we have a element that's called intergovernmental relations, right? Where we say where we're going, but maybe we can say we need to make sure that we're in. Maybe we're missing some of the groups that we need to be a part of, and we don't know because some of them are newer, and we don't always know what these newer groups are. No, that's important, and I think that's an extremely important addition. Hmm. Hmm. Mhm. So with this particular plan and the idea behind it is that so when we look at for example that you just spoke about. So right now we're looking at putting this new plant, but yet we still have this old infrastructure that's going into our homes, right? So for example, in the infrastructure section, that's one of the things that we talk about, right? We say, hey, we need to make sure that we're updating it from not just the plant, but also the pipes that come into it. So that's an aspect that's just an example that you're using, and I'm using an example of what we've done in the plan. But also, what goes in there is that developers need to pay their fair share, right? So if you're going to come into our city, we should also have these incentives that go into our other communities as well. And these are some of the policies that we're writing in order to go ahead and combat some of what you were just talking about because we notice it, we know it, it happens every time we go before council and we're listening to these things come in, but sometimes we're missing language that's needed in order for us to be said our plan says this, and so because our plan says this, we need you to give us this while you're doing it, right? So hopefully I answered it, but it's not that this plan is going to cause more harm. The idea is that how do we protect ourselves, and our plan should help us to do that. Example, Lone Pine. So one of the things that they've been doing has been fighting about that golf course, right? So if we didn't have certain language in our plan to allow them to be able to say, but you can't do this because our plan says this, everyone would just say, sign it off. We don't have any protections for them. That's what this plan does. It doesn't have all the language that we need, and that's why we need to make sure. That's why we just have to try to help ourselves the way we can right now. So we have other areas that we're like, we want to protect this area. People are fighting with us all the time, going before judges. But what protects us is that we had this plan that our community agreed on. And that's what helps us to go forward and to be able to face judges and to be able to combat some of this. So that's what it helps us do. It doesn't answer it doesn't answer everything, but we try our best to do that. Do you want to go?
Hey, and I just want to add one thing about the process we're in right now. A comprehensive plan document generally is on your books for 10, 15, sometimes 20 years. There's some updates that come along the way that the state requires every 7 years. You have to just make sure it's still consistent with any new state laws that may have been passed. But once this document is adopted, this is the guiding language and principles of our city for the next 15 years on average. So that's why it's so important right now to make sure that any language, concepts, and ideas that you want to guide our city for the next 15 to 20 years are included in there. You can make amendments to your comp plan along the way, but it's a tough process. They're not meant to be super easy to change because they're meant to guide you for long periods. So that's why this is such an important moment to make sure that anything you believe our city or our leadership is missing or not focused on enough, that before you leave this room, you write it down on a piece of paper with the associated element around the room and make sure that we take that into account before we take this to adoption. Because again, after adoption, it can be amended, but it's a tough, long process, including state review. So we can, there's some things our city councils can just say, yes, we like it, we approve it. Our comprehensive plan is something that if we want to make a change, we have to do a local review, then we have to send it to the state to make sure they don't have any issues and it's not conflicting with any of their goals. And then it can come back to the city, and then there's a waiting period to make sure it can fully be adopted. It's a process, but in this moment, every sentence in that comp plan is on the table for scrutiny, change, and update. So that's why we want you to give us that feedback and read through. We have the entire element printed, and we also have the the um, the summary points and highlights of each one as well. So we want you to weigh in on that, but we also have printed out the entire document so you can read through it and see what your comprehensive plan is going to say about each of these important areas of operation for our city. So thank you for those comments. And I just, again, wanted to make sure everyone understands that that's why these meetings and this point in our comprehensive plan redo is so important.
Awesome. I want to respect your time. Oh, I have two. Okay, last two questions for right now, and then we'll do a wrap up after we've walked around. Okay. And then. So we have two things that we're doing right now. We have within our housing element, we talk about our
And sorry, I just wanted, speaking of our city council, we did have one of our elected official, Councilwoman Davis Paneer, who's with us right now, just really quick.
And I'm sorry, I will not take up a lot of your time, but I did want to say thank you all for coming out and being engaged in this project. It's so important. And yes, as city council members, we do have to make tough decisions and they impact us all. But it's so important to me to hear from the residents on what they're feeling, the things that are important to them as it guides my decision making. And I can only speak for me and my one vote. But I want to say thank you all, and I ask that you please stay engaged. And I'm going to just, I guess, elaborate again on what Ms. Simon said, that you can share that QR code with other residents, and I'm going to do it on my social media because I believe that there are a lot of people that have a lot to say about the things that they want to see in Riviera Beach, but unfortunately, they're not at these meetings, and but they have a lot to say and a lot of good input and and a lot of suggestions. So I'm going to ask that you share that QR code with your friends, family, and other residents in Riviera Beach so that we can get as much feedback as we can as we update the comprehensive plan. So again, I am Priscilla Davis Penier. I am the city council person for District 5. And again, I say thank you for being here and helping us keep Riviera Beach as the best place to live, work, and play. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you. And yes, we have, and we also added, and that's how our relationship began. We also added an inventory of our historical spaces here in the plan. So yes, we will. Yes, ma'am. Hmm. Correct. So can I answer that one? I have an answer for you. So our state has changed that mandate where we are sending it between 10 and 15 years. And then we have this time where it's called the year, where we go and we update every 7 years as things shift and change. So there are things that happen in between. And then our plan, we're also working where we have action points this time around, where we have ways that this is our low hanging fruit, things that we can go after right now. These are things that are going to take a little bit longer. And this is our long term vision. So that too will be inside of our plan this time around. Yeah. So we're working on that.
The state requires every city to reevaluate their comprehensive plan every 7 years. So it's exactly to your point. Whether the city chooses to change it or not, they have to go through the reevaluation process every 7 years. So to give the opportunity to make changes and to focus on what's already changed in population and other factors in that time.
You're my last one for right now. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Correct. Correct. Mm-hmm. If we do them well. that you've been working towards? Hmm. No, that's perfect. And with that, I'm going to ask for you all to do a little bit of walking around, do a little bit of reading, or a lot of bit of reading. Please take the QR code so you also can share that, and so you can go through it yourself. Okay. This process, and the reason why I hope was the um, um, reason why my directors chose me to do this is because I truly believe in a vision of the people. And I truly believe that we all have a voice because we all have to live here. So I'm really asking for your honest input into this. So that way we can have something that we can use and not just something we put on a shelf somewhere. Okay. So please go ahead and stand up, walk around to the different areas. We'll do this for about 40 minutes or so. There's some food outside. You can take it and eat while you go if that helps you have that energy to do it. But please leave us your ideas and your thoughts. I also want to add, because we have a new section that's coming in, that's our community services section. We have, we have some surveys already filling out. Library is doing a survey. Please fill it out. And if something's missing on it, please add that, because we want that information as libraries goes through their master planning, which is very similar to what she was saying about things changing every day. Our different departments know that, and so that's why they have their individual master plans. So please walk around and let's do this, and I'll tell you when we have a 10-minute window towards stopping. Thank you, everybody. Oh, infrastructure. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Just do, yes. Tell me what. We have too much stress to not have it that way. Around the room, you'll also see my directors, Director Clarence Sermons. We have Mr. Scott Evans. We also have Mr. Casey Youngs at Parks and Rec. John is here for infrastructure. I'm trying to find them at their tables because they'll know what's going on in their element. But go ahead and enjoy yourselves. Mr. Adam Brody, please come out and do our survey. Oh, re-entry. Like I told you, in our new area, this is going to be part of our community services for us to support every member in our community. Thank you very much. I'm not at that table. You might want to go where I'm going to stand.
Just one more thing to add. There's a lot of good policies and initiatives on these boards. Please use your stickers to mark the ones that are your favorite. They'll also be used for the comp plan. Once it's adopted, the new plan will probably have hundreds of new initiatives that the city needs to do over the next 10 years. And the ones that you put the most stickers beside are the ones that staff knows that there's a lot of, those are the ones that are important to the residents. So I encourage you to use your stickers, because when we have hundreds of initiatives to move forward with, that'll help us prioritize which ones are the most important to you.